on? Buen día. Good morning, my people. Another day here in the Valley 956. This wonderful month, October. Love it. Still having fun. Still trying to pick places on where to go to bring you some footage of this Halloween. This month of the spook month. Yeah, so I don't really have a topic today about anything. Um, just gonna give my views and my thoughts on some of the stuff that's going on. We know that um, there's the political ring. There's many things that we can find on something to disagree on. But other than that, I mean, you can't really do anything about anything that's already happened before. Uh, Everything happens for a reason. We end up in certain situations because that's the way it needs to be, or that's the way it is, or that's the way it's gonna be. There's no changing it. There's no um, um, there's no change that anybody can do in some things, in some situations, especially war. War will come, and war will destroy, and war will do as it wants to do. Uh, it's a big old juggernaut, Gog. Um, yeah, takes a bunch of people, uh, takes a bunch of people down, and then forcibly moves its way through crowds. War is something nobody wants unless it's necessary, unless you really have to change a situation, change a way of people living. I mean, it's forcibly making people do what you want them to do, make them live as you want them to live. Or war can be for peace. Maybe you're fighting a war and you want to bring peace to whoever you believe that is like you or agrees with you or is as you do. War. Um, I used to live in a real bad. I lived in a couple of bad neighborhoods growing up. One of the worstest ones was neighborhood on the south side uh, called La Paloma. Yeah, it was a very bad neighborhood. Politically, um, things were set in stone, and some of the rules that you needed to abide by were just basically do unto others as you would like others to do unto you. Again, uh, the name of the neighborhood was based upon dove, peace dove, La Paloma. So yeah, but it was I'm not gonna say it was a bad neighborhood. It was a good neighborhood that I learned a lot from. Barrio, uh, hard to live in, um, but you just didn't mess around and you did what you needed to do. You you would survive it, and you would just as long as you wouldn't get involved in the politics that was going on in there. I mean, sometimes you couldn't avoid a bullet hitting you. There was always just gunfire going on. It's like as a kid, it was dangerous to be outside, but you know, where is it not dangerous? Everywhere is dangerous, man. So yeah, it was this neighborhood that was that ran fast, un barrio bien recio, um, and the people they knew uh, what they needed to do to either stay alive or just to stay out of the neighborhood politics, or just people that would wake up, go to work, do what they needed to do, come home, and sleep, and get ready for the next day. There were some people that just didn't get involved in anything that the neighborhood or the barrio had to to give. So yeah, I had a brother that got killed there. Uh, he it's a long story, but he got mistaken for somebody else, and long story short, he ended up with a bullet in his head. But that's just like I said, that's just the politics of the neighborhood. And I was 12 at the time, so you can just imagine um, the the stuff at that age that I had to go through. Um, there was a lot of stuff I had to take in charge, uh, especially of my own way of being. Uh, After a situation like that, it changes everything. Just just changes. It just shatters. It just changes everything that you know, and you have to totally accept the consequences, accept the change, and understand that things are never ever gonna go back to being as they were before that person was taken, was murdered, was killed, or was or how the religious people say they were called to the Lord. They were called to the Lord. Hallelujah. No, whatever, man. I don't care. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. Religious is not mine at the moment. But yeah, so just things will never go back. Will never go back to being the same as when that person was alive, and then it affects some people in a way where they'll never be the same. Emotionally, physically, mentally. So being 12, um, didn't quite grasp it, didn't quite understand it. So I didn't understand why things changed so dramatically. At that time, it was somebody was missing from my family. They were dead. They were gone. For me as a kid, it was like, okay, let's move on. But yeah, the things that changed the most was like all of a sudden you ask yourself as a kid, like, what's going on? There's no celebration. There's no celebrating. There's no Halloween. There was no Halloween that year, and I couldn't understand why. Um, but you kind of like, in a way, it's a bad experience to happen to you when you're 12. But as you get older, it's a good experience. Uh, there's benefits that come out of it where mentally you become stronger, and you understand that there's situations that you just can't go back, you just can't fix, and you have to understand that just like anything, it takes its time to run its course, and really, there's nothing you can do about it. So as an adult, it shows you how to deal with certain situations where, especially situations that you're sometimes forced into take action, or that you're forced to accept. Um, well, mentally become stronger in those decisions because you've already experienced it, and you're already gone through where there's going to be a time period where not everything is much fun, and learning it learning it at a young age. Well, it's like a muscle that you you started working out early, and of course that part of your body is going to be stronger than anywhere else that you've taken your time to work out. So in my situation, I learned at a young age. As I said, it began from 12 and on, where there was going to be situations that you couldn't do nothing about. You couldn't change, and you had to accept it. And you had to accept everything else that came along from that action, from that experience, from that moment in life that just totally changes everything. So now that I'm an adult, sure, there was a time where I couldn't understand why, and I was angry, and I couldn't understand, how could something like that happen. But sometimes you gotta understand that things, you can not learn to understand, but you have to understand and understand that everything's for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. We don't live in a world where you can erase things and make them not ever happen again. Uh, so it kind of makes you stronger, or at a different level than other people that haven't been through a situation like that. So I always say there's levels of enlightenment, or levels of educating yourself, uh, educating your mind, on how to deal and how to understand certain situations. And well, mine was, like I said, my enlightenment to uh, accepting things I couldn't change. Um, Came at the age of 12. As I said, we lived in a real bad neighborhood. The politics were very tough there. There were certain things you could do, certain things you could not do. Um, so my brother he got mistaken for somebody else. Um, he got shot in the head, and yeah, there was nothing you can do about it. That was just something you needed to accept. And I saw my parents deal with it. I saw uh, my sibling deal with it. I saw other people that had affected, that got them into situations that they should have never been into, or in. And they also paid for getting involved, where, you know, it was just something that it was what it was. And, you know, it was just, it's, there's things in life where, you have to make a choice. Do I make the choice? Do I go along with the consequences? Or do I do the smart choice? Do I take the smart path um, where I do understand how it's going to affect my situation, and how it's going to affect everybody else around me. Um, those are situations that some people aren't prepared to do, and that's why we have so many problems with people's liberty and um, people's rights. Some consequences will affect them, and that won't affect anybody else. Some people, they make decisions, or they get angry, or because something happened during the day, or because of something that happened, way back, like an experience the experience I went through. But what they gotta understand is that some of these things, by them not understanding that it is what it is, and they need to accept it, it usually, destroys a person, and it doesn't affect anybody else. There are situations like that. And most of the time, when somebody's angry and they just want the world to feel it, you can't get the world to feel it. Sometimes some people don't care. Some people might just, might even laugh at you, or laugh that, how you're dealing with the situation. Some people just don't care, what you've been through, or what has happened to you, or, you know, but by you accepting this or by you accepting that and understanding, and you don't react and you don't overreact, and you don't put yourself in consequences that should have never, you know, have affected you, or should have never brought against you. So, sometimes by being angry and by wanting attention, you know, some people will never ever give you that time, or some people will never ever give you that respect, or some people will never ever ever give you that kind of attention that you need. So it does help, finding out that there's certain actions, certain situations that have happened that you will never ever ever be able to go back and fix, and you're only going to make it worse by wanting to get revenge, or you know, or trying to get certain people to help you, or 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 to feel bad for you. That's what you want. That's what you need to make yourself feel better. But just understand that you're gonna get let down most of the time, because you know you need to do stuff for yourself, and you need to understand that the only person that can change your situation is you. So yeah, I missed a lot of holidays. I missed a lot of home cooked meals because my mom was just not there. She had just lost a son, but sometimes we don't understand why certain people are mad, or why certain people are going through situations that they're going through. In my situation, I just couldn't understand that. Like, hey, I'm still alive. I'm still here. What about me? You know? Um, but now as I'm older, I understand that, she was just going through the situation, or going through the emotions of, hey man, losing a kid. Shit. I would go crazy if I lost my son, or any of my sons, or my grandchild. It would be a hard hit. But because sometimes we find ourselves that we're not in that situation, so we don't feel it, we don't understand it, and we'll understand it later. When you're old and you have things that, or family you're afraid to lose. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it short. I hope everybody has a good morning, and I hope everybody gets to where they need to get safely. And don't judge others until you judge yourself. So once again, there was no topic to this video. Coffee time con el cuebro, aka Rafael Mata. But there was no topic to this. It was just me, ranting. Not ranting, but just talking about something that's on, in my head, or that I'm thinking about. But yeah, sometimes there's situations we can't change. We can't get out of it. We just need to deal with it and accept it, and accept the changes that it brings, and just see if it makes us stronger. But yeah, y'all keep cool. Laters con el cuervo. Coffee time.